Are you looking to join Cycling Men of Leisure for one of our rides in 2025? We've got a few things on our schedule.
That's right. We'll be attending Big Bragg and also the Bourbon Country Burn.
Big Bragg is in Georgia and Bourbon Country Burn's in Kentucky. Both places are going to be absolutely beautiful. We're going to have teams for both of those events. If you're looking to join us on our team, just send us a message. We'll tell you what to do.
So come on out. It's going to be a good time.
Absolutely.
Well, it's time for Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure, the podcast for cyclists who understand that riding is not just about getting to the destination, but the experience along the way. Now, here are the original Cycling Men of Leisure, Adam and Michael.
Hey, good to be with you again.
Happy to be with you again, Adam, here in sunny Florida.
Yes, we are still in Tampa, but this time we're in a hotel lobby because as much as of elitist we thought we were, we got kicked out of our room. So we tried for the late checkout, but the hotel was nice enough to put us down here. So yes, here we are. We've been in Florida for a week, recorded a few shows and got together. But why are we here today?
Well, we have a guest today.
We do.
We do indeed.
Well, all right. So let's talk about the guest. This guest, go ahead.
Let me give you 3 words.
Okay.
And see if you can figure out who the guest is.
All right, I'm ready.
Peaches.
Okay.
Pimento sandwiches.
I'm in.
And the best cycling kit ever.
Oh, it's got to be Bragg, hands down.
Bragg.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us bring on Franklin Johnson. Hey, buddy.
How's it going, guys?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing real good. Appreciate you being here with us today. And you are in full season right now.
We are. We just coming off of a ride in Mexico. We are about to start our ride down on the coast of Georgia and in the throes of planning for all the other events this year.
Wow. Well, that's kind of some of our questions that we have today, because we only got introduced to you because we would see your very red tent at Ragbri and it said Bragg, and we saw your very colorful bus. And I kept saying to Michael, what is Bragg? What is Bragg? Obviously I would ask, and then he said, oh, it's a ride across Georgia. We have to do that one day. Well, that was last year.
Yeah, last year you're like, well, let's do it now.
Exactly. So you took over as executive director in 2015. What makes a person say, hey, I want to do this? I mean, you're a cyclist yourself. I've seen you ride. Is that just kind of like it just came in your lap, or?
Yeah, kind of a strange story. I was actually full-time finance at the time, and I had done Bragg growing up. My mom's done about 25 Braggs, plus or minus, over the years, and was getting kind of tired of finance and was doing beer and music festivals kind of on the side.
Okay.
So with that, kind of decided I wanted to start exploring some other options outside of my primary career. And lo and behold, my mom introduced me to Jerry, who was the old executive director. And he was, I think, 72, 73 at the time, and was kind of looking for an exit strategy or a young whippersnapper to come turn it around and take it over. And that was me. So I actually quit the full-time finance gig, went a whole year without a paycheck to take it over and turn it around.
And
Cool.
Your wife and family still love you? No, I'm just kidding.
It took some convincing for sure.
I'm sure. What was one of the biggest challenges that you have encountered? You're now in your 8th year, or?
Yeah, so lots of challenges, of course. But before coming on board, I noticed there's a few unicorn rides left in the country where you actually ride across the entire state, point to point. Those are dying off, at a rapid pace, and COVID certainly wasn't helpful. But I, noticed the demographic was skewing older, and I knew that long term I was going to have to lower the age range of all our riders if this ride was going to survive. So I think, to answer your question, the biggest challenge was balancing bringing on aspects to make the ride better while also not alienating the existing ridership.
That's cool.
Yeah, because as you add certain things the core supporters don't like and new riders do, you kind of have to balance that. If you're bringing on loud music playing until late in the night, the older crowd doesn't like that, but the younger crowd does. But since then, I've kind of wised up and moved away from trying to balance that and just started doing both. So on Bragg, you can still get the trolley tour, the walking tour of historic homes and museums in the town, but there's also axe throwing down at the local brewery with a 5-piece melt your face band cover in Purple Rain. It's going to bring tears to your eyes.
I love it.
You can still do both. And, as time will tell, as the ride grows, we'll shift one way or the other. But that was definitely challenging, figuring out how to do both of those things at the same time.
Cool. I appreciate that.
Nice. A little something for everybody then. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Now, the bike ride across Georgia is unique because when you look on your website, and like when we went and registered last year, we're used to just going on there and, hey, here's the ride register. But you've actually got like 4 different rides that are really associated with Bragg. Can you talk about those and kind of how do they all fit together?
Yeah, so we like to offer an event for every season just to kind of keep everybody engaged on their bikes and riding and experiencing Georgia throughout the entire year. So what we're actually about to get started on tomorrow actually is our winter ride. And that's a great winter escape. It's if you're, somewhere where it's really cold, you can come down and enjoy the nice, beautiful, warm weather here in Georgia. And we get to visit Cumberland Island, Amelia Island, Jekyll Island, St. Mary's. In fact, Andrew Carnegie, a man with unlimited resources who could have built this house anywhere in the world, chose to build an island off the coast of Georgia. This place called Cumberland Island. It's now a national park, and we are going to get to ride there. So that's our winter ride. Then we also do our spring tune-up ride, which is very special and unique. I think you guys have committed to come to this year.
We have.
Absolutely. We'll be there.
It's going to be a 10-hour long drive, but I think it's going to be worth it. Some of our friends, you talked about it last night in your open house, meeting friends and family, at the rides, and we've met many, and so they said, hey, you guys should come down, and part of us was like, let's see here. He's from Kansas. I'm from Michigan. That's a long drive, but you know what?
We're in.
So
nice. Great. Yeah, so Spring Tune-Up is definitely one of my favorite rides. It fosters so much camaraderie. Everybody camps out at the same beautiful sunflower farm where we stay. A ton of people bring their RVs. There's 3 or 4 different route options every day. So if you have somebody who's, Adam's trying to crush miles and Michael's a little hungover, you can do different things, which is great. It's just a beautiful part of the state. It's actually the only part of the state that Sherman did not burn down on his famous march to the sea during the Civil War because he thought it was so beautiful. And then after you ride, you get to come back together with everybody. There's people doing yoga. We've got yoga classes. There's bands playing all in the afternoon. There's food trucks. There's kids frolicking in the tall grass. It's really just a special event in its own right.
Well, I'm definitely I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it for sure.
That'd be awesome.
So you got...
And the big red tent will be there.
Oh, well, there we go. Listen.
We just assume that.
Every time we'd come by on Big Bragg last year, you'd have your staff underneath there, helping people where to go take showers or, how to get into town, where to go. And everyone looks so red. I bet all of your volunteers, by the end of the week, all they could see is red. So, but I'll tell you what, you'll see it everywhere.
You can't miss it.
You can't miss it. That's for sure.
And that tent has really become a hallmark of the ride. I had to figure out a way for my wife to allow me to go do RAGBRAI every year, and I sold her on the fact that it's marketing. I was like, well, we'll take the tent and the bus, and a lot of people will hear about Bragg that way. And that was originally a scam just so I could go ride all week, but has turned into our greatest marketing effort for sure.
I
That's
believe
beautiful.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I have a wife too. I have to scam her sometimes too, but normally she came with me in 2018 as a support driver. Yeah. Every time I ask her now, she's out. So it wasn't for her, but we're going back this year, of course, for the 50th. And I think you were alluding to it last night in your town hall. It's going to be the biggest numbers they've seen. It's going to be crazy. So
now you do realize, Adam, you just said on recording that you scam your wife.
I'm the one who edits the show.
Oh, okay.
So I can edit it out later. So, so we did talk about everybody under your red tent, and I could see how that could be definitely a wonderful marketing piece as well. What kind of staff do you have? I mean, do you have I mean, we see you, and I've heard you mention Stephanie, and actually behind the scenes, she's actually written me, to be honest. But what is your staff level?
Yeah, so there's obviously myself, and then we also have Stephanie, like you mentioned. She's big in the marketing and operations, and we have Vicky. Vicky's worked with Bragg for 20 plus years. I think she is one of those people who can remember everybody's names, and when she's on the ride, she rode back in '85 with so and so that was on the ride. She's really great at remembering folks. And then we've got Scott and Amy. They run our rest stop team. That's a big Herculean effort every year. That's a husband and wife team that runs the rest stops. And then we've got Guy Richard. He's amazing. Leads up our SAG team. He drives a vehicle that he just outfits with every light and siren possible to keep everybody safe, which is great. And then we got a motorcycle SAG too. He comes to all the rides, and
we saw
a paramedic that runs back and forth. Yeah.
We with his two stuffed either pigs or something
something on the back. Yeah.
Yeah, he's big time paramedic. Actually teaches all those classes, and he always has some fun stuff for the kids to keep them entertained on the ride, which
That's
is always
cool.
Awesome. Yeah. Then we just have an army of volunteers, the rest stops and SAG, and not to mention the town. We get the Chamber of Commerce, all the city involved, and they have another army of volunteers that support us in each town we go through. So it's it's really innumerable around the actual ride how many folks we have coming on board. Definitely takes a village.
Cool.
Awesome. I'm curious, of all four of your rides together, what is your ridership numbers? I mean, how many people do you pull in on all these rides in, say, like a single year? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, so it depends. Our Big Bragg will be somewhere around 1,300 or so. Spring tune-ups usually 1,100, somewhere around there. But interestingly enough, I was looking at it this morning. Stephanie has just done such a stellar job. We're normally at about 390 registered riders at this point in time for our spring tune-up. Right now, we're about 720.
Wow.
So I think our spring tune-up ride has really hit a tipping point in terms of friends telling their friends that are telling 5 friends that are telling 5 more friends. That it's really gotten to a point where I think this year it's really going to take off.
That's awesome.
I'm excited that I'm going to be there.
Yeah. And then we have our Mexico ride. That's we keep our hotel tour rides pretty small. So like on Rent a Ride, we do 2 back-to-back. That's about 70 folks each. And then there's about 40 at our Mexico ride. And then our fall ride, we typically try and shoot for around 500. We did not do that last year, but we're going to get back to it.
Cool.
I must tell you, as a guy who lives in a winter tundra, looking at your photographs in Mexico and the blue water and green trees, I was very jealous. I will not lie. So.
Well, we are going to do 2 of them back to back next year, so you'll definitely have to join us. I think we could do a podcast sipping on some coconut rum in Mexico. I think you guys would enjoy that.
Oh, well, we are the Cycling Men of Leisure, so I think that would
it's right up our alley.
That would be there. And as a side note, I must tell you that all of this idea, this entire Cycling Men of Leisure started on Big Bragg, and I'll tell you exactly where. You did a community thing where I think you helped out a local golf course, and you held an event there with musicians. And I'm not sure if you gave back or not. I think you did. You can talk about that. But we sat back, listened to some music right there on the golf course. We actually got a ride on your bus. Your driver said, "Come on, we're going. Come with us." And so we jumped on your bus, and we sat back on the picnic table, and we were, truth be told, had brought some of our own libation and had a cigar. And people just kept coming by saying, "This is crazy. You guys are living the best of life." And this is kind of the roots of Cycling Men of Leisure. So
that's what helped start the whole thing.
That's absolutely
it all
true.
started in a country club in Georgia.
That's true.
Oh, man, I'm honored. With this job, I spend so much time in the car. I listen to so many podcasts, and I just love you guys' podcasts. It's, for me as an event director, it's good to see the other side and how you guys are going back and forth about all these different rides, what you like, what you don't like. It's really insightful for me to listen to. So definitely thanks for having me on here.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Let's take a moment to explore planning. How do you go about creating the route? I mean, you were gracious enough to share our show about how we broke down the route. And in that show, we made a comment how it doesn't actually go across Georgia, but it did last year. How do you decide that? Do you go back and forth? Is it just something that you guys do research on? You mind to touch on that?
Yeah, it's creating a route's always tough because you can't please everybody all the time. Much like you guys disagree about stuff, we have riders who like the mountains, some who don't. We have riders who like flats, some who like small towns, some like big towns. Some folks like staying in high schools that are close to town. Meanwhile, other people want to be outside of town. But needless to say, we have to balance all that between everybody. But, we like to let history guide us a little bit. So, we've got 43-year history of different routes we've taken. So we like to look at that, and hopefully history will guide us in a good direction where, we haven't been to the mountains in 5 years. We haven't been over here in quite some time. So need to show some love to this part of the state. And then I think it comes down to picking a corridor. You can never just, put 7 cities together and make it work. You got to pick a corridor of north side of the state, south side of the state, wherever it may be. And then from there, your anchors are your start and your end town, which you're kind of limited to on a geography standpoint. So, if you want to start on the east side of the state, go to the west side of the state, there's only so many options. And then after that, you got to have, it's like a mobile army. Everybody's got to eat, sleep, go to the bathroom. And you're just starting to look for towns that can provide those amenities. You need hotels, you need indoor camping, you need restaurants, you need towns that are actually willing to host you. So, it's really a whole host of things we got to look at to put a route together. Oh, and you need tons of interesting things to do in between all those towns.
Well, it's incredible because in talking with ride directors, as a participant who's been in dozens of these things across states, we never see that. And like last year when we were at your event, it was flawless. I'm sure things may have been burning in the back, but you know what? As a rider, we never saw that. And that's what always just blows my mind is that you guys can put together this week-long ride, moving every day. And from my perspective, it's great. It's fantastic. I don't see all those little hiccups that I know are probably going on. So it's incredible the level of organization and how you guys are able to pull that off. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, I would like to second that, not to be repetitive, but I didn't have any complaints, concerns, and then if we had any issues or concerns, you were right on it. You or your team or somebody, and I'm the same way. I'm a deputy director in my job, and lots of things my staff just does, and I hear about it later, and I know that's part of it, but it was flawless for us for sure.
And I think go ahead.
I take that as a huge compliment. If we're doing our job right, you guys should have the exact experience you're talking about.
Absolutely. And that actually leads me to another question. You are a very central figure in this ride. And I know I've been on rides before where you don't really see the ride director. They're really not present. They're in the back, coordinating everything. You're really a central figure in this. We saw you every morning. We would see you at different stops, things like that. How do you feel that really helps with the success of these rides?
I think it's hugely instrumental to be as involved. And, if people do have concerns, you can hear their concerns and act on those. And I think, being seen is definitely a part of that. So, I've definitely had, like your experience, I've had several people, I just saw you at the last rest stop, and then I saw you this morning too. So it's great to know that I am being seen. But that being said, we do have a very strong team, or a very strong team behind me, and Bragg has a very strong team. And, hopefully one day I can work myself out of a job. You keep putting the right people in the right place to take care of all the operations. Hopefully I can just shake hands and kiss babies one day. We're not there yet, but that's what I'm shooting for.
I think it's his hat.
His hat. It's definitely the hat.
So,
yeah, that's the thing. I fool you regularly. I wear the hat all the time. Then when I want to disappear, I just take the hat off and nobody recognizes me.
Yeah, it's like there's another person there. Yeah.
I was going to say, I saw you at Ragborough. You didn't have the hat on there last year. So, well, not that I saw you anyway, but I just want to make a mention, not so much of a question. I just want to compliment you for, I enjoyed the town hall that you offered last night, and you're going to offer 2 more of those. And I appreciate you answering my question because I had signed up for Big Bragg, and once you had the route announcement, I'm the only guy probably not the only guy, but I was one of the people exactly the stroke of midnight hitting refresh on YouTube, refresh. My wife is a nurse and had worked all night, and so she was sleeping, and so it wasn't very exciting. So I'm like, I want to know where we're going. And so the fact that you give a chance for people to ask questions who've never done this, and I was right there with those people before last year, and so I just want you to know that I think that's a really neat feature that you're offering. So.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that, and definitely Stephanie. Kudos to her for putting that together. She came up with that and thought of it, and just totally agree with her that, if you've never done a cross-state ride, or if you've never done a ride like this, the logistical challenges are immense, or they seem immense. It seems overwhelming. It's really not. So just to be able to hop on and ask some questions, I think can alleviate so many stressors for a lot of people. And hopefully we can continue to do that, and we'll continue that tradition before every big ride.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really like that because a lot of other rides, you have all the social media and they ask the questions, but that one-on-one kind of encounter, I think, really helps. So I definitely am appreciative that you're doing those type of outreach.
And I'll tell you, I didn't realize that whatever I type to you actually stays on Facebook. So if someone wasn't actually able to view it, I saw later on that what I had typed you and said thanks. I was just saying thank you to you. I didn't realize that my little word of thanks was then going to show up on Facebook. So
yeah, we didn't know that either. That was the first time we'd done a Facebook Live event like that. We normally do Zoom on some of our hotel tours, but for this we didn't know what to expect, so we did Facebook so they can accommodate a bigger audience, and we're glad they did. It's a cool feature.
My next question here is, you took on this job as a ride director. You kind of gave us her background. You gave us your background. And can you give us something that maybe just surprised you, that you didn't realize, that you didn't see coming when you kind of took over this ride? What has been some of those surprises that you've encountered, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that, I guess it shouldn't have been a surprise, but it kind of was. I was coming from a finance business school background. And, I quit my job to take over this company, and I thought it was very much put the right people in place, have the right processes, apply some capital, some technology, repeat, and this thing is going to grow and grow and grow, until you want it to stop. And I think I underestimated how big of a commitment it is to do a ride like this. And no one's ever going to sign up for Bragg by seeing a Facebook ad, unfortunately, right? Yep. It's going to take a friend. It's going to take a friend who's done it, or a family member that's done it for years to convince you to do this ride. And I think we have that. We have a rich 43-year history of folks who have done it, so many consecutive years, and they are, singing our praises to the hilt, thankfully, and that's why we're continuing to grow. And I think I kind of miscalculated the value of the community when I first took it over. Mm-hmm. I now realize that's our most valuable asset, and our community is so amazing and so supportive of each other and getting new folks into the ride. So I think now I'm really focusing on fostering that rather than applying anything you learn in business school.
Cool. Excellent.
All right. Now let's get down
let's get to the real question.
I was going to say.
The real question.
The real
question. How in the world did you come up with the best jersey of last year? I mean, that has to be the best jersey ever.
Now, before you answer that, Adam, you need to tell the story.
All right. So, no kidding. This is not joke. No, 100% true. So I'm in my office, and Michael texted me and he said, "Hey, did you sign up for the official jersey for the route? Looks like they're ending the orders or something." And I thought, I know I did that upon registration. I said, I don't want to miss that. I'm going to that ride. I want it. And then he sent me the picture. And then I realized it was April Fool's. And I said, is this a joke? I mean, is this real? Is it not real? And so we were having a laugh on our own. And then, sure enough, it was real. And then that night, we actually stayed in the Marriott that night. And so we shared a hotel room there. And then he came out with me. I had the kid already on. He was in the shower. And I kind of did like this dance. And he said, "No way." But let me tell you something. we got the most traction out of that jersey. We did multiple rides last year. We went to Bourbon Country Burn and this ride in Michigan called Dolmac and Ragbri, and of course your ride. And everywhere we went, they're like, we love those. Where'd you get those? Where'd you make those? I'm like, we didn't make them. It's actually Bragg, and check it out. And so, was it because it was last year was supposed to be like a farm tour, or?
Yeah, so it's definitely because it was supposed to be a farm tour. But let me just say, thank you for appreciation of that jersey. I poured my heart into that thing, and when it came out on Facebook, everybody thought it was an April Fool's joke. Oh, my heart sank. I was so hurt.
It is awesome.
Yeah, and people love it or hate it. It's the most polarizing jersey I've ever seen. And for those of you listening, it looks like a pair of overalls. And in the back pockets, cycling jerseys have 3 pockets. In the back pocket, there's a Coke sticking out of one. There's a corn cob sticking out of the other, and a peach sticking out of the other. But the whole thing looks like you're wearing a flannel shirt with a pair of overalls over it. And yeah, so last year our tour, the theme was Peaches to Beaches. We went by 14 different farms, and I happen to love my Carhartt overalls, and my wife hates them. So I figured if I turned it into a jersey, I'd actually get to wear overalls sometimes.
Nice.
So after we received the jersey, we did something kind of crazy. We went out to a company that makes socks, and we actually had boot socks made to go along with it. So we wore it with a.
We embraced the farm.
That's right. That's
yes.
right.
Oh, nice! I'm jealous. I hope you guys ordered me a pair.
We'll have to get you a pair sent over. So.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, that jersey was really. It took me. We reached out to so many different designers with that concept, and everybody kept coming back with cartoonish looking things. And I actually downloaded several different programs. I probably had 20 hours almost of design work and figuring out how to make lettering look like stitches. And I mean, it was a heavy lift for me personally, but I did every inch of that thing to get it to turn out like that. And I was so pleased with it, but half people are and half people aren't.
What I did see, just as a side note, is after the ride, I did, of course, I'm always the guy paying attention to social media and knowing that we were going to soon start a podcast. I saw that people wanted to order it afterwards. I saw all kinds of, hey, I didn't order a ride. Does anyone have an extra jersey? And so that was kind of cool. So
funny enough, I had accidentally ordered 2 jerseys.
Yes.
So I wound up selling my jersey to someone out east there. Yeah. So.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Yeah, we took a move from our partners to the east over in Augusta, where Bragg's actually ending this year. And so to get our gear, you actually got to come to an event. We don't sell it online. And once it's gone, it's gone.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So where do you take Bragg from here? On behalf of Adam
and Michael,
we both want to say thank you
for your support.
That's a good question. And everybody asks that a lot. I think it's not, the answer is not so much a number as it is kind of a level of service and amenities that I want to be able to provide the riders. So I definitely want to continue to grow ridership and get bigger. And the only reason I want to do that is to be able to provide a better experience for the riders. So I think with, some more backing and some more riders, we're going to be able to bring some stuff to the ride that's going to make the ride even better, get us involved in some of the communities a little bit more and provide some more creature comforts on the ride for folks that aren't camping inclined, if you will.
Yeah, no. I guess my follow-up question would be is, are you, so you are, I mean, I had wrote down for myself some notes, but I was going to ask you if you're hoping for larger numbers. I mean, there's pros and cons, I imagine. Having larger numbers, of course, of course it's good for business, but sometimes maybe it's too tight for a town or whatever. So but if I'm hearing you correctly, you do hope to grow it.
Yeah, I think we can definitely get a little bit bigger. I think somewhere around the 3,000 or so would be when we start to, quote unquote, price ourselves out of some towns that don't necessarily have the amenities for that. But I think, we're still well within our bounds of what we can provide to folks going through a lot of these small towns. And, sometimes we definitely bring in extra food trucks or, we shuttle the hotels or the next town over, what may have you. But we definitely have room to grow and stretch our legs.
Well, this may sound silly, but the first time I ever had the ever famous Chick-fil-A was a food truck that you brought on. And I went out there and I said, hey, I've never had this before. So
You have never had Chick-fil-A?
I know, of all the places. I mean,
Man.
I'm in Tampa today, but what happens to me is like by the ones in Michigan, they literally cause traffic jams. Cars are out the parking lot, and so I'm like, why am I going to wait for a chicken sandwich? So,
Now you know why they wait for chicken sandwiches.
it was pretty good, I won't lie. So,
Well,
And now have you had Waffle House? That's another Georgia staple.
yes, we have.
Yeah, we have. That's right. That's right.
Okay,
Yep.
there
Yep.
you go. As long as you have those two things, you got a pretty good experience.
All
here.
right, fair enough.
So this year's brag, lakes and libations. It looks like that's kind of your theme. You're going up into the northeast kind of quadrant. You make a big C. I really like the idea that you're actually going to be in another state, kind of ending out the last day there. That's a really cool kind of twist on it. Seeing the logo, and I think this logo is really, really cool too. We were both commenting that it's like, oh, that's a
Yeah,
cool
we
logo.
like it.
So
We like it.
so we're all scheduled. We're lined up. We've got all of our stuff ready to go. We're really looking forward to it.
Oh, first of all, as you've listened to our show, so we talk about distilleries and breweries and stuff. And so when you released the teaser of Lakes and Libations, I'm like, I am so glad I'm signing up for that.
Yeah, we're excited. We're going through some really. I actually went to a summer camp growing up around Clayton, Georgia, and that first day of riding is probably going to be one of the most beautiful days of riding you're ever going to get. We go around 3 of the most beautiful lakes in the southeast, and it's going to be truly amazing.
So one thing that you do, which is really unique and neat, in my opinion, and we are trying. We're close, but you do a team jersey. If you get 10 or more of your team people signing up, that you provide a jersey for everybody on the team. That to me is genius. Is that just? I mean, you came up with that, or marketing? I mean, can you touch on that?
Yeah, I steal most of my good ideas for sure. So we, before I came on Bragg full time, I went and did a bunch of other cross state rides to, do some research, and RAGBRAI was one of those. And they just seem the team culture up there is just like, you guys have seen it, but for anyone listening who's never done RAGBRAI, the culture around the teams there is just amazing. They all get matching kits and matching jerseys. They have their own teams. They have their own traditions. They ride together. They, hang out and party together. It's just a really amazing aspect of that community. And I wanted to try and recreate that here, hopefully with, teams of 2 like yourself that will go out and recruit 8 more riders for us. So,
Right.
So the jersey is just a carrot to, to get more riders on board with us, but B, also create that team aspect around the community and in our Bragg community that I think we need.
Well, what happened to me last year is the very first rest stop. This woman had a jersey that now I know was part of the team jersey, but at the time I said, "Oh my gosh, that is so neat! It has like the whole state on it and it had the line going." And she said, "Oh yeah, a person on my team designed that." And I said, "Oh yeah." She's like, "Oh, so and so, come over here, meet this guy. He wants to talk to you." And when I turned my head to the left, there were like 9 of her friends dressed exactly like her. And I was like, "I'm like, how did you guys do that?" Well, then that's the first time that we learned. So our goal was set right there. We said, all right, we're going to get our Cycling Men of Leisure is going to have a team. And so just this morning, we gained somebody else. So we're going to get there. We're at 7. We need 3 more. I mean, our point is even if you don't want to hang out with us every day, I'll provide the bourbon. Come sit with us and just tell me a little bit about yourself. And I like to meet new people. So,
well, I might have to join the team just to get the bourbon.
Listen.
You're certainly welcome.
You're certainly welcome, but I'm sure we can just provide it.
There you go.
All right. Well, the promotion, for those of you who don't know, if you get 10 people to sign up together for the ride and you list the same team name, you get your own jersey that you get to design that has your team name on it, and it's included with the registration. So if you're looking to join a team, I hear Cycling Men of Leisure is looking for 3 more or more members.
You heard it right here yourself, ladies and gentlemen. The ride director himself is promoting. I appreciate that, sir. But that's pretty much from us question-wise. I would love just to give you the floor for a second. Well, we've talked about spring tune-up. We've talked about Big Brag. Did you want to mention the dates of those and where someone could actually register?
Yeah. So if you want to check out any more about Bragg, just go to bragg.org. Super simple. All the information is on the website. Stephanie does a great job of laying everything out. But Big Bragg's the first week of June every year. Our spring tune-up is going to be the second or third weekend in April, that 13th weekend, and that's just a great intro into Bragg if you've never done it. If you're more inclined to go international, we've got a tour in Mexico every year. Do a winter ride tour down on the coast of Georgia if you want to check out Georgia if you're currently buried in snow. So definitely lots to check out. And again, it's all on the website, just bragg.org.
Awesome. Well, that's pretty much it from me. Michael, would you have anything else?
Well, I got a couple things. Okay. Number one, Franklin, we certainly appreciate you taking the time, energy, and effort to come and talk with us. We always enjoy learning about the kind of the inner workings of this thing that we really, really love and enjoy. So we appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
No, yeah, I was so excited. I listened to just countless hours of podcasts because I'm on the road so much for this job. And I told my wife this morning, I was like, I get to be on a podcast today, and I could hardly contain my excitement.
There we go. And if I do my job, it'll be released on Sunday. So that's awesome.
All right.
The only other thing I have to say today, Franklin, is
it's a great day for a bike ride.
Thank you so much for
awesome.
your time.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Thank you for coming along with Adam and Michael on Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure. If you have enjoyed this, please share the podcast or tell a friend about it.
Hey, we just wanted to remind you that we've got some really cool products at our jersey and our swag store.
That's right. You can visit cyclingmenofleisure.com. At the top of the page, you'll find our stores page. Click there. There's 2 QR codes. The one on the left has a J on it. That's the store for the jerseys. The one on the right is just a swag store. Has all kinds of different items. Kind of customizable. You can kind of make the swag the way you want it. If the QR codes are giving you an issue, don't worry. Underneath, there's 2 buttons that you can click on. Thank you, and have a great day.